Good afternoon. Welcome to Connections, and I'm your host, Pastor Kevin McGee of the Victory Temple Church of God in Christ. You're listening to us on IntellectualRadio.com. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio. Connections is a show designed to keep you connected and network to those in the Christian community who are making impacts. So get ready, because your connection is now established. And if you wish to become a Connections advertiser, please reach out to me at bishop1915@gmail.com, or you can inbox me on Facebook. And if you would like to host your own show on IntellectualRadio.com, inbox me and I can assist help you to direct you. Nature Sunshine. Have you kept your weight loss goals for 2021? Because 2021 is on its way out of here. Would you like a natural approach to weight loss? Do you want to see and feel changes immediately? Do you take medication for high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, fibromyalgia, cancer, arthritis, or any other condition in your body? Do you have poor circulation, frequent colds, flu, or chronic fatigue, or perhaps you just want to maintain a healthy body? Give Nature Sunshine a try. They have many products and plans that will assist you in losing weight or maintaining and improving your health the natural way. You can visit them. You can give them a call at 708-302-5655. The Bedrock Movement affirms safety, comfort, dignity, awareness, and empowerment for Chicagoland street homeless. For any internship needs for schools, community services that are mandated from the court system, or you just want to volunteer assisting the street homeless, please call John Netherly at 773-567-5110. We have a solution. We have a suite of voluntary benefits for individual and families. Who do you know with less than perfect credit that's in the market for a home, car, or other financial need? Our services include the following: credit restoration, will and trust, budgeting, credit builder, credit attorney, credit monitoring, debt payoff, financial lockbox, identity monitoring, life insurance, net worth, savings goals, YFL Family Met. Maximize your score. Our services can help with obsolete, outdated, inaccurate, and unverified information from your credit profile. Please reach out to Vania Perry at 708-910-4767, or you can email her with vania.thatlady@outlook.com, or you can find her on Facebook under Financial Fitness by That Lady. The Clement of Alexandria Theological Academy is a non-sectarian Bible college. CODA offers a Bachelor's of Arts and Biblical Studies degree, Master of Theological Study, Masters of Divinity, Doctorate of Christian Education, and Doctorate of Ministry with a concentration in practical theology. Classes are in session now, and they have affordable tuition. Online and distant learning is also available. The school's curriculum is designed for those who are actively engaged in ministry to equip them for effective service in the kingdom. For more information, go to www.coata.faith. Big Hands Barbecue and Catering. Everything is a knockout. You can visit Robin and Henry with Big Hands Barbecue. They have a plethora of food that you would love to have. Big Hands, hot links, rib tips, turkey tip, Big Hand Burger Deluxe, mixed green with smoked turkey, meat and cornbread, and their signature mac and cheese, along with peach cobbler, banana pudding, and chow beans. You can find them on the corner in their food truck on the corner of 167th and Dixie Highway in Markham, Illinois. That's Big Hands Barbecue. And contact me, Kevin McGee, with GRD Realty for all your real estate transactions. If you are in the market for a new home, if you wish to sell your home, or you're looking for investment properties, reach out to me and I can assist you. And today on Connections, we're in our Ask Mrs. Mortician segment. It's been a while since we had Mrs. Mortician with us. You know, the funeral industry is busy right now. That's the one industry that would never close, because you all won't stop dying. Amen. And listen, so it's a 24-hour, 365 days a year, business. I won't say revolving door, but I guess it is a revolving door. And so she's here to answer any questions related to funerals, death, and dying, expenses, all of that. She is an expert in that field. We do know that with this pandemic in the atmosphere, amen, that the funeral industry has been crazy busy. They just announced a new variant, the Omicron variant, that's affecting people overseas in South Africa. And so one thing about it is that we all have questions when it comes to final preparations, when it comes to expenses, and we don't want to be at a point where we are looking at things such as establishing a GoFundMe page, trying to bury a loved one, trying to raise, have house parties to raise some money. We don't want to do that. And so, Mrs. Mortician Jerry Taylor Reed, she's here. Jerry Reed Taylor, I'm sorry. Don't get your husband mad at me. Jerry Reed Taylor is here, and she's here to answer any and all questions. But today, we're going to talk about navigating grief through the holidays. Navigating grief through the holidays. And so that is something that is very, very prevalent. You have loved ones who may have died around the holidays or died this year. And many of you, this is your first time celebrating the holidays without your loved one. And so we're going to talk about that today. Shout out to those that are watching by way of Facebook Live. Listen, those of you that if you have any comments, you have any questions for Jerry, you can reach out to her. You can type it in the comment field, or you can give us a call at 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. If you want to give a shout out to her, or if you just, again, want to pose a question or give a comment, you can do it on Facebook Live in the comment field. And please like and share today's broadcast. All right. So thank you for being with us, Jerry.
Thank you for having me.
You took a holiday today, huh? Because, I don't know many funeral directors that have a Saturday off.
Oh, it's very rare.
And matter of fact, I'm sure that while we're talking, there's about 3 or 4 funerals that's going to go past down Roosevelt Road on its way to Oak Ridge Cemetery, within this next hour. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us on today and to talk about this very important subject matter, and that is navigating grief through the holidays. But before we get into that, let's remind everybody a little bit about who you are. Give us a little bit about your bio.
A little bit about my bio. Okay. Well, as you said, my name is
Bring your mic closer.
Jerry Reed Taylor, and I am a licensed funeral director and embalmer in the state of Illinois, and soon to be actually Indiana.
Oh, okay.
So that's new since we talked last. I am actually practicing very, very, very frequently here in Illinois. When I am not serving families, I am teaching. I'm also an adjunct faculty member at Malcolm X College in the mortuary science program. So shout out to Malcolm X and our staff there, Miss Karen Scott, and the program director, who's the program director. And when I'm not doing all that, I am most importantly a wife, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and so I am all of that.
Yeah, and you're a new mother.
I am a new mother.
A new mother, just had a bouncing baby boy.
Yeah, and he's 7 months old. So
yeah,
I have a 6-year-old and a 7-month-old. So,
all right. So you got 6-year-old Journey.
Yeah.
And you have 7-month-old.
7-month-old Jaren.
And so your hands are full. Plus, you are in the death business. I call it that. That's a little thing that we have. She deals with the dead people. And sometimes dealing with the dead people are better than dealing with some of these live folks walking around.
That is true.
Amen. But we respect what you do because, our family has used you over the years.
I think actually since we last talked.
Yeah.
It was last year we've served your family. So
you served our family about 4 or 5 times since the last time we talked. And so we need to cut that down. We don't want to call you anymore. No time soon, okay?
You can always call me.
No. I don't want to call you and say, Jerry, we need you to pick up somebody. No, we don't want to do that. All right. So we need people to stop, passing away. All right. This pandemic has done a lot. This pandemic has, and it's more than just a pandemic that's caused death, but we have all the other things, sickness, cancer. We have tragedies such as murders and car accidents. And for many people, this is their first holiday without their loved ones, or maybe their second. For some, they never get over the grief.
Mhm.
Some, this might be their 10th holiday, their 10th year since their loved one is gone and they're still grieving. I have a friend of mine, she still misses her mother. Her mother's been gone close to 20 years. But every time she gets around, get around the holidays, she has a flashback and she has a hard time dealing with this. So, um, we want to deal with this before we get to the grief portion. Let's look at some general things about funeral arrangements
Mhm.
because it's very important that everybody knows that they need to have their business in order. Everyone should have a life insurance policy if possible. All right. If you can also afford a burial policy, that'll be good to have. But a life insurance policy. Now, off the cuff, will a $10,000 policy work in today's market? If the if they don't want to cremate,
For a burial, you're
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
will a $10,000 policy be sufficient for a funeral service with a burial? In today's market, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you and transparent. It will just be enough. And the reason I say that is because it depends on the selections that you make. To be honest with you, if I were you, if I was with someone, I would get more than $10,000. Right now, I would just say I'm just speaking in general. A modest funeral service will put you anywhere from about $6,500 to $8,000. That's a funeral service, as well as a burial. Right now in Chicago, the most economical burial is about $2,800, and that's Monday through Friday. So if you pair my $6,800 or $6,500 with at least $2,800, that's going to put you real close to that $10,000 policy. And so that is in 2021. If you do receive a policy, it would be wise to get something in excess of that, because it's one thing to have insurance, but it's another to have sufficient insurance.
Okay, because many of us we have parents, we have grandparents who bought a policy years ago when
Hmm.
$10,000 was more than enough, and they've held on and they paid into this policy, and so now when they're passing away, or $5,000 policy, $10,000, we find out now that we get to the funeral home, and for all the stuff that we want, we realize we don't have enough, you
Hmm.
know, because when you say modest, that means you might not get that specialized casket that you want, with
Hmm.
the writing and engraving on it, and the brass handles and everything. You might just get the basic model,
Correct.
with the roll up windows and not the automatic. Okay. You might not have, the colorful brochures or the programs that you want. You might,
Hmm.
whatever, the pigeons or the doves or whatever that's going out. Yeah. Because,
That's all correct.
so uh, you have to understand that, for those of you that have older parents, you need to find out what kind of insurance they have. If they say, well, I got a policy. I paid on a policy, 20 years ago. So I got enough money to bury me. You need to see how much money they have to bury you, because when they leave here, guess what? That's going to fall on you,
Hmm.
you know, and you need to also know where those policies are.
Hmm.
We have a young lady that was on our show about close to 2 years ago, and she had a company called Grandmama's List, and what they do, they're like a holding company. All your information, they can store your uh, insurance information, so that when you pass, they have the information that when your loved one calls, they have all your insurance information, the numbers they need to call, so that you can access those policies.
Hmm.
And we're actually going to bring her back on the show in the very near future. But you need to know, because I've run across people who their loved one has passed and they don't know what the policies are, or well, Mama told me she had a policy, but when I saw it was only $5,000.
Hmm.
So now you can look at cremation, which most of us really don't want to do, or you're gonna have to raise some money some other way. All
Hmm.
right. So what's the first thing when somebody comes to you uh, and they need to make arrangements? What's the first thing that you do to comfort that person? Do you get right to the business at hand, Say, my mama just died and I don't know what to do. And you say, okay, well, we're going to get this casket, we're going to do this, that, and the other. Or do you try to make a connection with that person first?
I'm be honest with you. I try to make a connection first. When someone calls and says that their loved one has passed, the first thing I say, well, first, let me offer my condolences to yourself and the entire family. Because that's letting them know before we do anything, before we go any further, let me express to you my sympathy. Let me let you know that you have my deepest sympathy for what it is that you're going through at this moment. I then let the family navigate the conversation. What is it that I can do for you? How can I help you? I let them drive the vehicle. Okay. Then that's where you may learn all of the things that you need to know. Because at times you have families, they've never done this before. They've never had a loss. They've never had to plan a funeral. They don't know the first thing about insurance. They don't know where insurances are. So all of those things come out in that initial conversation. And so my question is, how can I help you? What is it that I can do for you? And to be really honest with you, although I am a funeral director, I find myself in a resource seat, if you will. Many people know that I'm a funeral director. Many people know that I embalm. They know that I work for a funeral home, and I can pretty much help with anything. And so I find myself being a resource and a guide. So, and that's all a part of being a funeral director. But even before they talk, I guess you could say funeral business, if you will. They're like, well, where can I, go to get help with my insurance? Where can I, find someone to help remove the hospice equipment? Where can I go to get someone to help us purchase flowers? Things like that. So I asked the question, how can I help you? How can I be of service to you? And that's all a part of the ministry, how I can help someone else.
And you're also a grief counselor, if
I
I'm not
am.
mistaken. So you know how to connect with them and deal with that, and that's what makes you the perfect person to talk about grief today, because you are that grief counselor. So you can give counseling while you are servicing them, and then it's easy then to transition to business mode.
Hmm.
After you've made that connection, and they can you can say, how can I service you? Now they feel a little bit better because it's different than someone just saying, well, this is what you got to do, this is what you got to do. You're finding out what they want,
Hmm.
and then you're letting them know, okay, all things are possible, let's see which road we're going to go down.
Hmm.
um I've I think the only time that I've actually even witnessed the handling of the arrangements was when nephew Darius died, and you came to the house,
Hmm.
and I pretty much cared. My wife was handling that, um, because I've never been in a position to like sit down, look through a book of caskets. To me, I'm like, we just pick out a casket, like what color you want, blue, red, brown, never had, and then to find out all the different prices, the different levels of pricing.
Hmm.
And then, because most of us, we think, a funeral, we go to a funeral home, we pick out the casket, you tell us how much money, and that's it. We don't know about the cemetery costs, and
Hmm.
opening and closing the grave. I'm like, opening and closing the grave, you got to pay for that too?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so uh, you just figure it's all in the package,
Hmm.
and so then, I used to think when I was younger that the headstone came with the grave. I'm like, you got to pay for the headstone?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Installing it, all of that.
So it's a lot to consider. So that 10 grand might not go that far.
Mm-mm.
And I tell people, and this is me, as a husband, as a father, as a pastor, I tell people, based upon what you're able to afford, uh, well, for me, I believe the sky's the limit when it comes to insurance, because you also, after you take care of the funeral expenses, guess what? You got to live. If that person was a
Mm.
breadwinner, if that person was
There you
one
go.
who paid bills, and there are bills left to be paid, then don't stop at 15, 20,000 if you can afford to purchase more insurance.
Exactly. You said it. Insurance was never just meant for burials and for funerals. Insurances were meant to sustain the family at least for 2 years or more. And so that's where you came with, the $1 million policies. Insurances were meant to sustain the family. As you said it, if the person that died was the breadwinner, was the one who took care of the bills, who met all the obligations, and then at this point now they are no longer here, how will the family go on? Insurance was meant to help the family sustain and to get back on their feet over a period of time, not just to plan a funeral.
And see, we think of life insurance. Okay, life insurance on my life, but no, 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 no. The deceased person, their life is over.
Hmm.
Life insurance is to help to extend the life of the people that are still here.
Hmm.
Because you have, if the father passes and the mom has a house note or rent, has children to take care of, this, that, and the other. And if there's not enough money in the kitty to do that, they're going to lose the home or lose their
Hmm.
apartment. And so we, the heads, we who are heads of households, male or female, you need to really look at that. I gotten to a point where I have quite a bit of life insurance on me, and my wife, we both have quite a bit of life insurance on us, but our children, thank God, are grown now. So we it's enough to bury us. It's enough to pay off anything that needs to be paid off. And it's enough for them to have a little something to put in their pocket if necessary. But we don't have little children that have to be taken care of outside of that tuition for ISU for Jaleesa. See, but I don't plan on going anywhere till the rapture comes. So
Oh, okay.
anyway, but yeah, so you got to make sure that you have the right amount of insurance. You
Hmm.
have to make sure that you know that uh, that all other needs can be met. When you leave here, because guess what? The bill collectors no longer coming for you after you leave here. When they get that death certificate, guess what? They're going to your estate. And so that's what you have to be cognizant of. Um, what has been the hardest thing that you've had to experience in working with a client?
Um, I'll be honest with you. There are days that my heart is truly touched. When families have lost a loved one, they have lost even children. That's hard. That's hard, even for me, because just actually, almost 2 years ago, I lost a child. And so that still kind of strikes a nerve. It still kind of has me some days that I have to take a step back. And it's hard. Especially trying to minister to someone when you still kind of need someone to minister to you too, and so you can't be a wall or a brick for someone when you're wavering. And so it is hard. At times I've stood next to caskets during funeral services, and you may see a tear. You may see, me have to take a moment and allow others of my staff to kind of intercede, because I am still human and I have to remember that too. So I would say that's some of the hardest, parts of the business, because you want to be a stature, you want to be a strong tower for these families and for those that you serve. But all the while forgetting that I'm human too. I need a hug sometimes too. I need a rub on the back. I need a pat. I need an encouraging word. And so, and a lot of times too, that's why I call you at times. I lean on others. I lean on our bishop and even my godfather. But I would say that is the hardest. That is the hardest for me.
And I remember 2 years ago, your
Mhm.
godmother, you handled the arrangement for your
Mhm.
godmother. And I know that was hard for you,
Mhm.
but you handled it like a trooper. Most people would not have known that you were grieving yourself in the loss of
Mhm.
your godmother. Um, and now, before we get to the grief part, we have recently, well, not recently, but it's becoming more increasingly, um, violence that breaks out at funerals. Where you have a funeral at a church or a funeral home, and then you got to call the police to be outside. Uh,
Mhm.
what's that like? I mean, do you know up front that this potentially might happen? Do you make preparation for the police to be at the funeral home or the church? I mean, what happens?
We do. The police, especially Chicago police, they are very very good about setting parameters and definitely covering services as they are able to and aware of. Yes, with everything, it's called preparation. And so, of course, there are times when loved ones they pass through the violent situations, which are unfortunate. But at this point and where we are in the business and the position that I'm in, I have to also keep in mind that there are others I have to protect, especially when they're under your establishment, under your roof, on your property, or even if we're at a church location. You have to work with that pastor to make sure that the grounds are secure, to make sure that those attending the services, they are safe. And we do everything in our power to help with that and to facilitate in that way. We do, have to maintain lucrative relationships with police departments and, municipalities. So that way, we're communicating every step of the way, whether it be we're at the church, where we're moving towards the burial, even in procession, we're communicating, with all of the townships and municipalities on that route. So yes, we are doing everything we can to make sure that mourners are safe, families are safe, even innocent bystanders, they're safe. Anybody in that window from start to finish is going to be protected.
Have you ever had to have police actually in the service?
We have,
Wow.
we have.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm like, let me know so I won't come to that one. See, because I'm I'll watch it on somebody's gonna stream the funeral. I'll watch it then. Shout out to those that are watching by way of Facebook Live. God bless you, Robin Festerson, Lenore Owens, Chantel Truitt, Bryce Smith. Good to see you. Annette Harris, who hosts the show on Intellectual Radio on Wednesday, Mind, Body, and Soul. She's watching. Lolita Travis is watching. Felicia Terry, she's watching. Shout out to all of you. All right, so now let's get to this thing called grief. I'm
Hmm.
gonna I'm gonna give you a scenario. All right. Um, I'm coming in and I need to make arrangement for my child
Hmm.
that just died. I'm a ball of emotions. I really can't. I can't. I can barely get through telling you what I need because I'm too busy. I'm in crying mode. I'm angry. I'm
Hmm.
upset all at the same time. Um, Nobody understands what I'm going through because this is my child.
Hmm.
What are the various stages of grief that you've noticed that people go through?
I would say most, recognizably anger. Um, you know, we're angry. We're mad. We're confused. We don't know why this happened. We're angry that it has happened. We're angry it's happened to us. So the most that I see is anger. A lot of times you'll see denial. I don't believe this has happened to me. No, I don't see my mom in the casket. Maybe she's just out of town. I don't see her. She's just away for a while. We see that a lot. I don't need a casket because no one has passed away. So anger would be the first, denial would be the second. And once you see those, you kind of have to help navigate someone through those. And one thing about it is, and one thing I want us to understand is that grief is not a neat thing. It's not a pretty thing. It is no finality to it. It doesn't have a set start, and most times it doesn't have a set ending. And so there is no right way to do it. You have to do what works for you. You have to allow others to help you. You have to set goals and parameters for yourself. And of course, all of those things come at a certain time, but especially when a death is fresh and it has just happened, where moments, days, weeks into a death, we have to allow on others to help us and to navigate that through that for us, to where we get to a point where we can speak, where we get to a point where we can say, this is what I need, or I want to do this. Some people, they get there quickly. Others get there, it takes a little bit of time. So everyone is different. Each case is different. But definitely, I would say very much so, we see a lot of anger, especially in the society we live in today. And we're angry not only at the death, we're angry how the death occurred. We're angry because maybe the death could have been avoided. We're angry at others because the death maybe happened at their hands or due to a result of their doing. So again, you have a plethora of things that definitely help to create those emotions.
I'm looking at your Bopsy twin just chimed in. Jory, your sister,
Hi,
says she's
Jory.
watching. Lynette Rains Patterson, she says, "Thank you, Jerry, for helping us prepare for services during our loss a few
Hmm.
years ago." Um, Now, at the end of every at the end of the burial committal, you
Mhm.
all make a statement that this concludes our services, but doesn't include our well, how do you say it?
It concludes today's services, but it doesn't include our reach and I love you.
Okay.
So a lot of times with funerals, of course, many of us, the last time we may see the funeral director is at the cemetery. Especially, with my service and especially I've been working with my sister with our touch. We don't like to allow that to be the last time you hear from us. We don't want that to be the last time that you feel that you can call us. And that's why I told you when we started, you can always call me. There doesn't have to be a death. I tell everyone, I think I tell Sister High all the time, you don't always have to call me. And we don't always just have to meet at funerals. Listen, when you cook, I'm going to come. Okay. I love pound cake. I love macaroni and cheese. You cook, I'll come over. We can hang out. And I always don't want to be the cloud or bearer of bad news. Definitely with funeral directors, a lot of times we may see them in their role at the funeral at the cemetery, but definitely there are very, very good aftercare programs for those that are still experiencing, grief, those that still need help kind of going through paperwork, those that need help, kind of knowing what to do with death certificates, when they will receive them, who should get those. Like you said, canceling estates and closing those things out and that kind of business. Again, funeral directors have a plethora of knowledge. And, I employ everyone to tap into that. You know, you have not because you ask not.
Hmm.
So go ahead and ask for help. Go ahead and seek out your resources.
Okay. Now, we're talking about the holidays.
Hmm.
Christmas time. We just closed out Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Christmas time is here. We actually, we've been celebrating Christmas time since
Halloween.
Halloween, but Christmas time is here.
Hmm.
And Big Mama, she died on Christmas, or she died last year. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, and Jerry, I'm calling you because I can't get through this weekend. I can't get through the Christmas weekend. I can't get through this next month, December. I know that you deal with grief. I need some help because okay, I'm not mad anymore. I was mad when it happened,
Hmm.
but now I don't know what to do. I can't seem to bounce back. I can't seem to move forward. I hate when the holidays come. I just want to go to stay in my bed and close my door and pull down the shades and to make sure it's completely dark and sleep through Christmas. What do you suggest that I do? I need some help. How can you help me?
Well, the first thing that that person has done is ask for help. And a lot of us in our culture, we don't ask for help. Seek out your help, seek out your resources. Counseling is always good. Therapy is always good. That allows you to get those emotions out, that allows you to speak to someone and they give you the floor and they let you have your time. Now, of course, when we're talking about holidays, one thing we have to remember that the holidays, they're going to come around every year at the exact same time, at the exact month and day. And it's one thing, let's not hide from them. You know, let's create new traditions. If Big Mama always cooked the turkey, then this year let's plan ahead. Someone else cook the turkey. If Granddaddy wore the Santa suit, let's plan ahead. Can Uncle so and so can he plan
But
wear the
see,
Santa suit?
nobody cooked like Big Mama. See, Big
Then
Mama,
let's
she put that
learn.
spin on it, and can't nobody else cook it.
Or maybe let's not cook. Let's go to a restaurant. Let's go out. Let's create a new tradition so that way we're creating new memories. We're not forgetting and we're not, forgetting Big Mama and her cooking. We're not forgetting about what we used to do. We're creating new memories. We're creating new things in place so that way we can sustain. And set boundaries for yourself, even around the holiday time. You can't go to every holiday party. It may not be, good for you. It may not be what you want to do. Set boundaries for yourself. Most importantly, give yourself time. Give
Mhm.
yourself, be kind to yourself. We're human. You have to have those moments will come. It's important not to let those moments turn into hours. It's important not to let those hours turn into days, those days turn into weeks, and those weeks turn into months. Give yourself time.
And the one thing you mentioned, there are some people who utilize therapists or counselors.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, in our community, Black folk, we don't like to talk to other folks about what we're going through. We tend to close, keep everything in, close ourselves off.
Mhm.
When they ask you, at the funeral, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I
Tired.
got it. I'm all right. I'm all right. Especially the dudes. Dudes be some of the biggest crybabies, you know, but we got to be strong. You know, but we have a, you know, if it was our mama, that was our child, if that was of our wife or what have you, we're gonna be strong. Well, I'm
Hmm.
all right. I'm all right. But when we get behind closed doors, we're broken. You know, we don't know what to do. And so when that holiday rolls around or that
Hmm.
birthday rolls around, you know, we don't quite know how to act, you know. And so we don't, but in general, we don't really like to go and ask anybody for help, you know, but that's what we need to have. You need to have somebody in your life that you can talk to. If you don't have a best friend that will help you, not just a best friend that just be there. Yeah, I know what you're going to think when my mama died. Yeah, you don't need that. You know, you need somebody that's going to speak life into you.
Hmm.
Someone who can be a counselor or a mentor to you while you're going through, a pastor, or anyone that can help you, that can look at this from an objective standpoint, but yet can have compassion towards you, you know, because you don't need anyone that's going to help to join in with your pity party,
Exactly.
you know. It's just like when somebody's in the hospital hooked up to all kinds of tubes, and you're supposed to go in there and you encourage them. You get in there, ooh, child, they got you looking bad in here. You know, you don't need that. You
Hmm.
need somebody that's gonna say, "Oh, you're looking good," even
Hmm.
though they look like they're part of the machinery. You know, and this the same way here, child. I don't know what you're gonna do without your mom. You know, your mama did everything for you. So now that person like, oh God, you know,
Right.
you need somebody that's going to speak into your life. And you know, as a pastor and counseling people who have lost loved ones, you know, one of the biggest thing is they just can't believe it.
Hmm.
And then even after everything is over, months or a year after, they'll still say, you know, I just don't know what to do. And I have to, you know, I have to be that voice that says, okay, you're stronger than you realize.
Hmm.
You can get through this. You have people that are here to help you. But now we got to reach out and take advantage of that help,
Exactly.
you know. So, in your experience as a grief counselor, have you ever seen some cases where you just didn't know what to tell them or what to do?
There have been, and even those that I have even had to pray my way through, because I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't know how we gonna get through this one. But you go back to those fundamental things. You go back to listening. You go back to the stage of, just being there. Sometimes we can't necessarily set arrangements. They just want somebody to sit with you. You just want somebody to talk to. So we got to kind of scale back and see what it is that they need, what it is a family needs, what is it that I can provide to you, whether it's just offering you a bottle of water or coffee and sitting with you for a while. And then maybe set an appointment for another day. Maybe today's not a good day. Maybe tomorrow or next week will be even better day. And so just the fact that being patient with somebody can go a long, long way. And so, yes, there are times when, we've had to feel our way through. We're building as we go. We're putting the road down as we kind of travel on it. But we always end, in the end with good results, with a family being pleased, with someone's being healed, someone being touched, a heart being mended. And so that is what it is all about. That's what it's for.
And this is why I believe that, especially our churches, we need someone in our churches that can be qualified grief counselors,
Hmm.
somebody who they can go to, if not the pastor, someone who has the training and the know-how. Annette Harris, she put down therapy, and that's awesome because she is also a grief counselor.
Hmm.
She's a member of Abounding Life Church of God in Christ, and she is the grief counselor for them. You need to have somebody that the people can go to, that they can trust,
Hmm.
that they can feel comfortable with and opening up to. Not just somebody, not you don't want anybody that you know got loose lips and they're the eyewitness news of the church. You know, they're going to tell all your business, but somebody that you can trust with with what you're going through and how you're feeling.
Hmm.
Yeah, see, because when they're outside of the church, or when they're in the sanctuary among everybody else, oh yeah, I got this. But when they go behind the doors of their therapist or their counselor, oh, I don't have this. You know,
Hmm.
you don't need anybody to tell you. You know, I thought he was so strong, but when he got in my office, he broke down like a baby, and telling all your secrets. So yes, you definitely need someone who will be there for you as your advocate.
Hmm.
When you can't pray, they can pray for
For
you.
you.
You know, um, and now when you dealt, you mentioned that, you lost a child, and I remember
Mhm.
when you lost your child,
Mhm.
and it takes a while to get over that. Then you also lost your godmother.
Mhm.
How did you get past? Who did you talk to? Because here you are, you're the grief counselor. Here you are, you're the funeral director.
Mhm.
Who do you talk to? Because I say that to say this, that many people say, they look at certain individuals as being above grief, being above sadness and sorrow. Everybody thinks that the pastor is Superman, that
Mhm.
nothing bothers the pastor. And I put a question out: who does the pastor go to when he needs counseling, when he needs help? So
Right.
who does the grief counselor go to when they need help with their grief?
Other grief counselors, other professionals that can help. When I lost my child, it was October, and then my godmother passed in December. So in the course of 2.5, maybe 2.5 months, a short period of time, and even before that, I had a grandmother, an aunt, and a great grandmother to pass. Maybe months before that. So in that period of time was a very, very hard period of time for myself, for my family, and you go to others. If I can't, I always say I know somebody who can. So I always tell families that for any reason, if I'm emotional, I can't, I know somebody that can get the job done. I know somebody that will get the job done. So when I'm low, when I say spiritually low, I turn to my bishop. I turn to my godfather, administrative assistant, Hagler. Shout out to him. I turn to, my god sister. I turn to Elder McGee. I turn to those that I know will definitely have my back and that are praying for me. I turn most importantly though to my family. Because during that time, they held me up. My husband held me up tremendously. My parents, my sister, my in-laws, they all surrounded me with love. And when you can't get water from a rock. So if I'm low and I'm depleted, I need to go to where my sources are. And so I, especially those group of people that support system, I know where they draw their strength, and they draw their strength from above. And so that's where I was getting mine.
Awesome. Like I said earlier, this year you've helped our family.
Hmm.
We lost my mother-in-law earlier this year, and people are amazed at my wife, and they're saying that she seems so strong. But my wife actually grieved while she was the caretaker for my mother-in-law.
Hmm.
So when everything was over, she was fine. She went
Hmm.
through her grieving process. Others didn't necessarily grieve then; they grieved afterwards.
Hmm.
Some are still yet grieving. We also had another family member uh, who lost my wife's aunt, who lost both of her sons in the same year. How long was
Hmm.
it? How many months apart?
6.
6 months apart.
Hmm.
Two sons, 6 months apart.
Her only two
Her
sons.
only two children.
Hmm.
You know, and then she took ill. So, um, and yet we were visiting with her 2 days ago, Thanksgiving. You know, so everyone handles grief a different way. We know that she's grieving, but everybody handles it a different way. Uh, and I also believe that depending on your, how the strength of your faith
Hmm.
determines the level of your grief. You know, and so, but we all have to grieve. The most important thing is that we do grieve, because if we don't, we try to bottle it in,
Hmm.
act like nothing's wrong. At some point, you're going to erupt like a volcano. You
Exactly.
have to grieve. You've got to cry. You know, I've seen grown, hardcore men
Hmm.
cry at a funeral when it's their mother or someone close to them.
Hmm.
People that I never thought I would ever see cry, I see them break down and cry. But that's part of the grieving process. That's not for something for you to live stream and say, "Man, look at Junebug crying, crying." No, let Junebug cry, because if it was you, you might cry as well. Peggy Taylor says, "Good job, Jerry. God bless." Evangelist Gail Dexter watching all the way from Stockbridge, Georgia. All right. I wish I was in Georgia right now with that warmth. So now, uh, with this grief, people need to be careful, because there are those that would like to take advantage of
Hmm.
you while you're grieving. I've heard cases of, now, first of all, it looks like people know when you just lost a loved one, because you get all kinds of advertisements and all kinds of communications from people.
Mm-hmm.
we're sorry for your recent loss. How you know I lost somebody and they got all these different offers and things like that. Um, have you seen? First of all, let me ask you this: are there any scams going on in the funeral industry?
When you say scams,
Well, on two different fronts. How can- on one front, in making preparations in the
hmm
first place, have you ever run across or heard of any funeral home scams?
I would say we do have some people in the industry that are in it for the wrong reasons. I would say definitely when you are speaking to a funeral service professional, somewhere in there, hopefully make sure they have a legitimate business. Make sure they have a licensed funeral director somewhere in the midst. Make sure they have proper credentials to do what it is that they are offering to do. And I would always say, maybe the lowest price is not always the best price. Make sure you do your research, your homework.
And see, most people won't know to do that. Most
hmm
people, they're just trying to talk to, you got the corner funeral home in the neighborhood, right there on the corner.
hmm
And they go in and they might not know if the person is licensed
hmm
because you don't have to have a license to own a funeral home, right?
Correct. You do not have to have a license to own a funeral home. You have to have a licensed funeral director and embalmer to operate and do the operations of the funeral home.
And see, most of us, we just think, funeral home, it's the owner, we just go in and we talk to them. They make, arrangements. The reason I asked that question because I remember there was a funeral home on the west side. I won't call the name because it's still in operation.
Mhm.
And the people made the arrangements. They went in, arrangements were made.
Mhm.
Everything that they arranged was not done.
Mhm.
The casket was not the casket they chose. The other things that came with the programs were had the wrong name on them. Yeah, I'm talking about big differences. Um, Even where they went to the cemetery, chose the area where the person was going to be buried. It saw it everything. It was totally when they got there, it was in a whole different spot, and then all the prices were different.
Mhm.
And they got all the final charges like when it's too late to do anything, and they just felt that they were scammed all the way around.
Mhm.
And like I said, I won't call the name because the funeral home could be under new management now because this was like about 15 years ago.
Okay.
But I'm like, do you hear of anything similar to that going on today?
All the time. But again, that goes back to, like I said, you want to make sure that those that you're engaging with, you ask questions at any point. If you have questions, voice your concern, ask your questions. Don't keep that in, because of course, you'd only get to have a funeral for mom, one time. You want to make sure you're pleased with what you put in place. Again, the establishments that you choose, go in, stop by, take a look around, ask questions, stop by more than once if need be, twice. Make sure that the people that you've chosen to serve you are certified to do just that and will do just that.
And how do they find out if they're certified? Where can they go? What can they
They
look
can
up?
ask to see, licensing, just like if you were stopped by a police officer, you'd like to see their badge or badge number. You can ask to see licensing. You can ask to see credentials. There is a website, the Illinois Professional Regulations website. Anybody who is licensed, even doctors and surgeons and
And
nurses
realtors.
and realtors, their license numbers as well as their credentials are listed on this website. Funeral directors, their information is listed on these websites. So again, the Federal Trade Commission governs our industry. OSHA governs our industry. So again, there are checks and balances for those that are in the funeral industry.
And this is why you need to have a checklist when you go. I mean, I know you're upset, but you need to really have a checklist before choosing which funeral home, which funeral service to use, because you really need to ask questions. You want to
Mhm,
make sure that you're getting, what you're
mhm,
paying for. You want to make sure that the person is properly credentialed. You want to make sure that everything that they're telling you, you get a listing, you get an itemized list of everything they're trying to make you pay for.
exactly.
You know, You don't just go in, to Junebug's funeral home, and you're gonna shake on it. No, you want an itemized list. You want to see some credentials. You want to make sure that Junebug knows how to put Big Mama in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to do all of that. You have to, and that's why it's good to take somebody. And when you're going to meet
Mm-hmm.
with that funeral director, take somebody
With.
who is not emotionally upset.
Mm-hmm.
Take somebody who has their wits about them at that moment that can really be your advocate and can speak to you if you can't speak.
Absolutely.
Because that person was, while, you know, Sister Sally, I understand you're hurting. So we're going to make this as easy as possible. I want you to look at this book of caskets. Well, now you need to have somebody on the side. So wait a minute, before we go there, let's see your papers. Let's see your credentials.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look. Let me get my cell phone. Let me look up and see what your number. Give me your license number so I can see. Make sure you're good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an offense to the person, to the licensed professional, because we should expect that. When I'm a realtor and I'm dealing with someone, or quote unquote real estate broker. I'm a real estate broker. When I am dealing with a new client, I've had a couple of clients that asked me my license number,
Mm-hmm.
and they looked it up to make sure that I am currently licensed, because my license could be expired, and
Good.
it's illegal for me to operate as a
Yep.
real estate broker, and my license is expired. So I've had that. I don't take offense to that, you know. And so, likewise, you should be able and comfortable enough to ask for that person's license number, or to at least see the papers, at least see their license or whatever, to see that they're currently valid.
Mm-hmm.
I like to also go online and look up the history of the business. Make sure that if there are any complaints out there with the Better Business Bureau or whoever. I want to look up and see. They left my mama in the alley. So I want to make sure. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, Kelly Cattenhead is watching. Good to see you, Kelly. Brenda Nichols Taylor. Good to see you. So now, um, what are okay? The day of the funeral hits.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have that person who, they're viewing the body. You go to the cemetery, and this is just really for my own personal. It's my own personal question, because as a pastor, I've seen this.
Mm-hmm.
You get that one person who's just over. You know what I mean by over? Oh God! And I don't want to poke fun, because some people are just really, but some folks that threatens to jump in. Have you ever seen anybody jump in the in the grave?
No,
Okay.
not jump in. I have seen a few missteps, and we definitely want to prevent those from happening, but nobody willingly jumping.
So when
No.
they say, I want to go to, and they get up there. The reason why I said it, because my former pastor, we were at a funeral, and I was getting ready to go grab the person. He said, "Oh, don't grab me." He said, nobody has jumped in the hole yet. So when
That
they
is
say,
true.
I want to go, he said, just let them cry it out. They're not jumping
Mm-hmm.
in, And so, but I've seen missteps. I've almost
Mm-hmm.
had a misstep once at my grandmother's funeral in Mississippi. They didn't have the machine to lower you in. They had the straps.
Okay.
And I was one of the ones, they needed some people, so I had to hold the strap. And it was rainy that day.
Mm-hmm.
So the ground was muddy. And so I'm trying to lower her down. The mud started giving way. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you know me, I'm jumping back. I'm not trying to go in.
But yeah, I have seen some missteps, and I try to position myself closer to the grave so I can kind of at least avoid that from happening and prevent that from happening. But definitely no, no willing jumpers.
Okay, nobody jumped in.
No.
All right, so you don't have to worry. Everybody that's watching, if somebody wants, they're having that emotional outburst, just let them have it. That's their way of grieving. Sometimes people are the emotional outburst is the guilt, because they
Mm-hmm.
weren't around when that person was living. Sometimes it's legitimate, but nobody's gonna jump in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if they jump in, they can jump back out. All
Correct.
right, but they're not gonna jump in. All right, so we just thank God. Now, listen, Jerry is a very reputable funeral director. Um, she will go beyond, above and beyond for your loved one. I've had personal experience with her. She's done a funeral in my family and my wife's family for the churches I've been affiliated with. She's done. I mean, she's done it all. Uh, she has access to some of the best people. If you need a preacher, she has access to one. I'm one of them. All right. She called me up, Pastor McGee, I need you. I said, "Oh God, who died?" I mean, but she will go beyond. She would get what you need for your funeral service, and I tell you, you can never go wrong. How can they reach out to you? If they want to use your services.
If you want to use my services, you can definitely give me a call. My phone number 773-998-3600. That's 773-998-3600. I am on Facebook as Jerry Reed Taylor. So you can definitely access me there. Um, Definitely, if you are a fan of the show, you can reach out to Elder McGee as well. He has a direct contact to me. But by those mediums, I'm definitely more than accessible to service anyone.
Exactly. And if you do have need of her services, yeah, just give me a call, send me a message, and I'll call up. Hey, Jerry, we got another one. And but I'm gonna tell you something. She'll come out night or day. She'll come out,
Hmm.
and so she'll come and grab your loved one, and then she will walk you through. She'll make sure, like she said earlier, the death certificates and all of that. She'll explain everything to you. If you need someone flown in from another state,
Hmm.
she will help you through that. We've had to have that with our cousin Artie. She'll locate the body, she'll get them here. So again, I'm not telling you about somebody that I just heard about. I'm telling you somebody that I've known for years. I've known her. I've had the experience of working with her and working for her. And but she is top notch. And again, reach out to her. She will do you right. God bless everybody that's chiming in. We had quite a few people on today's show, and we want to make sure that uh, listen, support her. Now she's not hurting for your business, because I'm telling you, every time Jerry, are you available? No, I got a funeral. Jerry, you available? No, I got a funeral. So when she said, "You got any availability?" I'm like, "Whoa," you know. So we just want to make sure that we are, um, you know, utilizing the people that we have in our community. Kelly Catton said we both have. She said you both have been there for me. Yes, Kelly, who has suffered loss. I was pulled in for that particular funeral, and Kelly's a Whitney on Dolphins, so I got to make sure the Dolphins are taken care of. So again, we just thank God for you, Jerry, taking time out away from your babies and your husband. Thank you, Jarrell, for allowing her to come. Uh, you should have brought Jory, but hey, I will bring Jory back because I need a caramel cake.
Well, if I'm here, Jory's holding down the fort. So
All right, Jory. All right, get back to work, Jory. All right. Thank God for you being with us. Tune into Connections every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. If you're ever in the area on Sundays, you can find us at the Victory Temple Church of God in Christ, 2000 West Roosevelt Road in Broadview, Illinois, 8 o'clock a.m. to 9:30 a.m. We roll early in the morning, but we make sure you can go back home and you can go back to bed if you want to, or you can go visit whoever you want to. Amen. But we just thank God for all of you. And so we'll see you again next week at 12 o'clock noon. Peace.